The torches of Babylon burned, like fallen stars against the midnight sky. Music thundered through the palace halls. Golden goblets overflowed with wine. Silk curtains danced in the warm desert wind, while nobles laughed beneath towering statues of forgotten gods. Outside the walls, the mighty city slept, believing itself eternal. No one imagined this would be Babylon's final night. The Euphrates River glimmered beneath moonlight, like a black serpent curling through the heart of the empire. Massive walls rose toward the heavens, so wide that chariots could race atop them side by side. The gates were forged from bronze. The towers touched the clouds. Babylon believed itself unconquerable. King Belshazzar believed it too. Inside the royal palace, hundreds of lords and concubines feasted beneath blazing braziers. Musicians struck drums of war while dancers spun like living fire. Servants poured wine endlessly into jeweled cups. The king sat high upon a throne of gold, drunk with pride and power. Babylon will stand forever, he roared. The hall erupted in cheers. But beyond the city walls, hidden beneath darkness and silence, another king watched, Cyrus of Persia. His army stretched across the desert like a sea of shadows. Thousands of soldiers waited without torches, without songs, without fear. Persian commanders whispered final orders while engineers labored beside the river. Tonight, Babylon would fall. Yet inside the city, no alarm bells rang. The people trusted the walls. They trusted the river. They trusted the empire that had ruled the world for generations. Merchants slept peacefully. Priests burned incense in sacred temples. Guards leaned lazily against their spears. Only the wind seemed restless. Deep within the palace, Belshazzar's arrogance grew darker with every cup of wine. In his drunken madness, he ordered servants to bring sacred treasures, stolen long ago from Jerusalem's holy temple. Golden vessels, once devoted to God, were carried into the feast. The room roared with laughter, as nobles drank from them carelessly. Then, suddenly, the music stopped. The air turned cold. A silence heavier than death swallowed the hall. Near the palace wall, a glowing hand appeared out of darkness. Not a man, not a spirit, only a hand. Its fingers burned like molten fire as they carved strange symbols into stone. The king froze. His goblet slipped from trembling fingers and shattered across the marble floor. The nobles stared in horror. Some fell to their knees, others screamed. Even the dancers backed away in terror as the mysterious words blazed upon the wall. No one could read them. Belshazzar's face turned pale as ash. "Bring the wise men," he shouted desperately. Astrologers, priests, and magicians rushed into the chamber. They studied the glowing message, whispering nervously among themselves. But none could understand its meaning. Fear spread across the palace like poison. Then an old man entered the hall. Daniel, a prophet taken captive decades earlier, when Babylon conquered Jerusalem. Age had silvered his hair, but his eyes still burned with unshaken faith. The king pointed toward the wall. "Read it," Belshazzar demanded, "and I will reward you with riches and power." Daniel looked not at the reward, but at the king, and his voice thundered through the silent hall. "You have filled yourself with pride," he declared. "You mocked the God of heaven. The message says your kingdom has been weighed and found wanting." The king's breathing grew shallow. Daniel continued, "Babylon will fall this very night." Lightning flashed outside the palace windows, and far beyond the walls. The Persians moved. Cyrus had discovered Babylon's weakness. The Euphrates River flowed beneath the mighty walls through hidden gates. As long as the river ran deep, no army could enter. So the Persians changed the course of the river itself. Upstream, thousands of soldiers dug massive trenches, diverting the waters into empty canals. Slowly, silently, the river level began to fall. The impossible was happening. As Babylon feasted, the riverbed beneath its walls became shallow enough to cross. Persian soldiers stepped into the darkness. Cold mud pressed beneath their sandals as they advanced beneath towering walls untouched by siege weapons or fire. Above them, Babylon's guards remained distracted by celebration and drunkenness. No warning came. No trumpet sounded. The empire never saw death approaching. Inside the palace, panic gripped the king. The mysterious writing still glowed upon the wall like a curse from heaven itself. Then, distant screams echoed through the city. Belshazzar turned toward the windows. Flames rose in the distance. Steel clashed against steel. The Persians were inside Babylon. Chaos exploded across the streets. Citizens ran through smoke-filled alleys while soldiers fought desperately beneath torchlight. Palace guards rushed toward the gates, only to find enemy warriors already flooding through the city. The mighty walls had become meaningless. Persian soldiers stormed through marketplaces, temples, and courtyards with terrifying speed. Their armor shimmered beneath moonlight like ghosts emerging from darkness. Babylon, the greatest city on earth, was collapsing in a single night. The palace doors burst open. Armed warriors poured into the throne room. Nobles screamed and scattered. Golden cups crashed across the floor. Musicians fled into shadows, while soldiers cut through royal guards with brutal precision. Belshazzar stumbled backward toward his throne, his face consumed by terror, but there was nowhere left to run. Outside, the streets burned. The hanging gardens vanished beneath smoke. Statues of kings stood silent as empires died around them. The once invincible city now echoed with fire, blood, and the thunder of conquest. And above it all, Babylon's towers still reached toward heaven, as if refusing to believe they had fallen. By dawn, the empire was finished. The banners of Persia rose above the city walls where Babylonian flags once flew proudly. The gates stood open. The streets lay silent beneath drifting ash. Cyrus entered the conquered city not as a destroyer, but as a ruler claiming destiny itself. One night had erased centuries of power. One night had shattered the greatest kingdom on earth, and the words on the wall had proven true. Empires built on pride can rise like gods, but they can fall before sunrise.